Sepupz, friends, ladies, and gentlemen, we are gathered here for a fascinating evening as we go back through the entire course of history. How is everyone doing tonight? Tonight, we're going to be talking about the appeal of Siti Mastura Muhammad, otherwise known as your Queen Sepup, for those of you who perhaps are aware that I start almost every single video out with Selamat Sejahtera dan Selamat Sepup. How's everyone doing tonight? What is up, Tao Gua? Like, you are like a loyal follower. Wow, thank you for coming again. It's an absolute pleasure. So yeah, now we're talking today about the appeal of Siti Mastura Muhammad. So for those of you who don't really know at the moment, so we have at the moment this. Yup. Maybe you can see this and sort of like remember what's going on right here as you think about what is going on. But don't worry, we'll have a little bit more to think about. But basically, we have a certain Queen Sepup, which some of you probably remember from looking at the pictures, which we have plenty of at this point right here, featuring this particular lady who, as it turns out, was sued for a very, very large sum of money. And she was not just sued, by the way, for a very large sum of money. I mean, it was infinitely more interesting than that. And it is actually what led to me calling this channel, well, it is still Victor Tan, but it's what led to me calling myself like Sepup because of just how ridiculous it actually is. But anyway, so this is what we've got right at the moment, right over here. I will show you a little bit of like the details and also, yeah, let's watch something together. This is what she got sued for. 3, 2, 1. Share sound. A little bit of like the details and
kalau kita tengok
also, yeah,
dalam
let's watch something
salah
together.
silah keluarga satu individu ni, ayah dia bernama Lim Kit Siang, anak dia nama Lim Guang Eng. Lim Kit Siang, Lim Guang Eng dua beranak. Lim Kit Siang dan Cimpeng. Apa hubungan mereka? Sepupu. Siapa?
Beautiful, absolutely wonderful. Now, if you don't know who Chin Peng is, so he is essentially the ex-leader of the Malayan Communist Party, and yeah, clearly that association should not be something that people are making. Anyway.
Cimpeng. Siapa Cimpeng? Ketua komunis yang sebelum ni viral isu nak bawa balik Abu mayat dia ke Malaysia. Lim Kit Siang dan Cimpeng adalah sepupu. Lim Kit Siang dan Lim Goen adalah dua beranak. Lim Kuan Yew, siapa?
I don't know why these people always talk like this, by the way. Like, they always like look for confirmation from like the people that they are talking to. Supper, and they expect like the correct answer right there. Like, if you think about it, like a person could just literally throw out any random answer at all, and it does not have to be actually related to the original question, and she will go ahead and confirm it. Is that a very good way to learn? I don't think so. But anyway, back to Lim Kuan Yew.
Ketua Menteri Singapura. Apa hubungan dengan Lim?
There's no Ketua Menteri Singapore. By the way, like that position basically just ceased to exist. And like, I'm not going to go into like that deep Singapore history, but there was a time when actually there was like a Singapore Legislative Assembly and there was actually a chief minister position, but like that is no longer a thing.
Siang dan juga Cimpeng. sepu, sepupu.
Bro.
Lim Kuan Yew, Lim Kit Siang, Chimping, Sepu, Sepupu. Nampak tak susu galur dia? Nak katakan apa? Lim Kuan Yew duduk di Singapura hari ini. Apa yang telah dia buat dekat Singapura?
Bro. Okay, I didn't notice this, right? But like, bro, does she know that Lee Kuan Yew died like many years ago, like in 2015? Bro, like she gave that speech like just very recently in October 2023, bro. Like she was like 8 years late. I mean, like, if you think about it, like, how little informed can you be and then like go out there and give a speech? It shows how much you respect your audience. Anyway.
Kita nampak model-model itu sedang berada di Malaysia. Dan hari ini mereka tidak pernah tidur. Dan salah silah keluarga mereka akan buat sehabis daya. Tu tak habis lagi tu saya sebut nama tu. Lim Guan Eng masih ada di sidang parlimen. Teresa Kok, Wabi mana? Parlimen Seputih. Apa kaitan?
I always thought that she was gonna say like Parliament Sepupu for a quick bit. I mean, like that could actually be a thing. I may or may not have a surprise for all of you a little bit later on, in the middle of this live stream.
Teresa Kok dengan depa ni. Teresa Kok, isteri Lim Guan Eng tu, isteri Lim Guan Eng dengan Teresa Kok, sepupu. Anak-anak menakan depa, kalau orang Pemamas sebut apa anak menakan? Anak saudara ke? Anak saudara.
She doesn't even know her Malay. Bro, mempertabatkan bahasa Melayu.
Anak saudara. Anak-anak saudara depa yang masih lagi wujud dalam keturunan Chimping ni, keturunan Lim Kit Siang ni, yang ada di parlimen hari ni, yang ada di adun hari ni, siapa? Antaranya yang lain, Anthony Locke. Siapa lagi? Nga Komeng. Siapa lagi? Ngeh Kong Him.
She got the name literally wrong. She doesn't even know who she's fighting against, bro. Like, and she's like looking at the camera, just like so proud of it. Like, literally, it's like, yeah, like I can literally lie straight to your face while looking at you in the camera, and I know that you are gonna believe every single damn word that I say, bro. It doesn't matter. Moving on.
Ni semua nama Melayu ke nama Cina? Cina. Semua yang saya sebut ni wujud lagi tak dekat Malaysia? Hidup lagi tak? Hidup. Nak sebut apa? Agenda mereka satu keluarga. Sentiasa berjalan dan sentiasa melahirkan pengkaderan dalam kalangan ahli keluarga serta parti mereka.
All right, bro, Sepupz, that is your little throwback of why this woman got sued. And by the way, she not only got sued, right, but she actually ended up having to pay off, right, into a whole account, right? After her good old donation drive, where basically they collected all that money, they paid it off, right? But maybe, right, you didn't know that there was like a whole, like a whole donation drive right there. That, by the way, our good old-fashioned Taqiyuddin Hassan, if you don't know who Taqiyuddin is, he's like one of the best friends of Siti Mastura right there. Yes, that's right. Look at that touching relationship that they have right there as they are just casually hanging out. Oh, I guess that they don't really have like a picture together. But anyway, Taqiyuddin Hassan, basically, he's just casually going out and saying that Mastura was only fulfilling her responsibility as a past leader when she made the remarks during the Kemaman by-election campaign, and she did not do it because of personal malice. All right, and then this is what we have right here. They discussed the matter and decided that PAS has to share the responsibility of settling the claim. We are just remembering right now, Sepupz, what happened at that time that she got sued for and that she is now appealing. Look at that. They are basically just casually taking money from their own members. Like there was like a whole discussion right over there about how like they allegedly got their members to go and pay the legal damages. Did this actually happen? Well, I mean, like Focus Malaysia wrote an article about it. Is it credible? Well, I mean, you can judge for yourself, but you can see right over here that there is a piece that literally says that, hey, so because there is this thing right over here whereby our Mina, you may think that the entire world thinks that she's uneducated. Instead of getting a doctor of philosophy, she got permanent head damage. The quality of graduates nowadays from Malaysian universities is actually super terrible right here, but she is our Mina, and that being said, we cannot just go out and abandon her because she truly was performing her responsibility. And apparently, her responsibility is to just casually go out there and slander and go out and then fight essentially while refusing to apologize. And in the meantime, now here we are with this situation right here whereby now it says right here in point number 5, maybe you can't really read it, but I can, and I will go ahead and read it. So, given that this is the case for PAS Pusat, in order to prevent the problem of the the problem of the by-election happening in the event that Siti Mastura is declared bankrupt, then therefore we will need to be able to settle this saman fihat. So then fitnah. So then therefore we are going to go right ahead and collect all of this money right over here. And from there, it is going to be truly amazing. Now, is this real? Is it fake? Now, that's a separate question altogether. But what I will say, right, is that even the spiritual leader of the party, right? So the spiritual leader of the party, our good friend Hashim Jasin, was saying it is not wrong to go out there and jihad donate in order to help Siti Mastura pay the fine, said the Murshidul arm of PAS. Now, if you think about Murshidul arm right here, just think about like who the previous Murshidul arm actually was right here. Does anybody remember, for a quick minute, right here, this particular gentleman? Does anybody remember this gentleman? He was such a wonderful gentleman. He was so nice. I mean, like the way that he behaved, it was just like miles and like entire continents away from like what we actually have right about now. Look at this. I mean, like, you know, I don't know how many of you are following like this channel like very closely, but like there was actually, by the way, like a fire, right, in a house, and it basically left this painting, right, of the guy just like present right over there. It was the only thing that did not burn. And I made a video about this like a long time ago, like saying that, hey, maybe at this moment in time, you know, Tok Guru Nick Aziz is looking back at like the rot of this entire party and like the very fact that like right now, fitnah is like part of the strategy. It is like the end game right over here that they are casually going into, and then they are just casually like making it halal or permissible, as I said in the last live stream. And here we are. This woman, shameless, party shameless, is appealing. And appealing is your legal right, right? But at the same time, it showcases that you're just like unapologetic. We'll go a little bit more into those details right here. I just want to see like the kinds of responses that people are giving right about now. But yeah, so like maybe you're kind of like remembering what is going on right here. Hey, what is up, Safi? That is very great to think about. She is indeed the Lulu. There were many Communist Party leaders who were Malay. Yes, like for example, the late Shamsia Fakeh. I mean, like, in case you don't really know, like, there was this like particular like woman right here. She was a member actually of the Malayan Communist Party, and yeah. So like, interestingly enough, so she ended up, shall we say, leading the communist movement along the way. And the thing is, right? So you can see actually like all of these different types of people here and there. You also have like Abdullah CD, right? Maybe you've not heard about him before. But like, yeah, so like also a member of the Malayan Communist Party. His memoirs are like basically selling for like some absurd amount of money right now. I don't know, like he he was a communist, right? But for some reason or another, like people were just really good at monetizing his legacy right here. And you know, like the last time I met Anwar Ibrahim, it was actually at an event, right? Like where they happened to be selling that particular book, and I overheard a conversation between like some people out there, and they said basically that like, hey, you know, communists actually make the most like good businessmen because like they're so much about like liberating the proletariat so much, right? That like they just kind of like understand like that stuff right there. I don't know, like citation neither. I don't know if that's true. And yeah, like another one of the major leaders, right, was basically your Rashid Maidin. There were lots of Malay communists, by the way. It's not like a Chinese thing, so to speak. But you can actually see right over there, right, that well, you've got essentially like all these people who happen to be Malay and happen to be communists right over there. And by the way, like something that I noticed earlier and I did not point out, right? Because I needed it to like have some context. Notice that basically this particular page, right, it occurs in the DAP website. Now, a lot of people would then say that, oh, you know, like DAP is communist like today. But like that is not a fair accusation. We have seen, of course, the good old Hadi Awang say that essentially DAP is communist and refuse to apologize for that. And you can actually see that he went ahead and said that, hey, you know what? Like, I have proof that that is true, and I will refuse to apologize. And you know what? Like, I will see you in court. But that case never actually went through. I wonder why. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting sort of like connection right over there. But anyway, so I did mention that basically there is this idea of like an appeal at the moment, and I think that it's kind of interesting to look at those details, which we will. So if we look at the Edge article that was like published just a day ago. So you can actually see right now that yeah, you've got like Teresa Kok just casually hanging out right over here, and along with the lawyer, look at them, like so happy. Chinese New Year. Wow. By the way, like just now I had like an interesting like Losang experience at the gym, which was a little bit strange. Some of you who follow me on Instagram, you might have seen this right here. But anyway, so then what happened is that essentially like the Court of Appeal, right? Which Siti Mastura is going through right now. So like they decided to defer their judgment right over there and basically said, hey, there were issues that were raised right over here on this hearing that they had on like February the 10th that the panel needs to like think over at the moment right here. And by the way, so like, okay, so like what's happening basically is that, hey, so like this uh past lady right here, so her lawyer is basically saying, hey, you know what? Like the damages are like way too much. Why don't you just like reduce it down to 75,000 ringgit for each one of the plaintiffs, meaning the people who sued. You know, it's like the equivalent of like basically somebody going up and then saying like, hey, you know, like I have like this father who is like basically like unable to work. Like my wife, she is like crippled. My son is like not just like single autistic, she is triple autistic or something of that nature. I'm not trying to trivialize that right there, but like I am saying that this is the kind of excuse that a person might reasonably make and that we have seen people make basically in the course of their appeals to the court. I mean, like maybe you remember right about now that there was this really interesting case sometime last year, right? That yeah, this gentleman actually went out and I mean, like, it's almost Ramadan, right? I mean, like, it's Chinese New Year. By the way, like, Selamat Ramadan to all of you out there who are going to be like fasting from like Wednesday of next week. So then, like, it's exactly like a week from now, and like, it is basically, I think, like, third day of Chinese New Year kind of thing. But anyway, so like, one of the interesting things that happened like last year, like during month of Ramadan, was this. There was a guy who literally went up and then slapped a guy, right? Sabahan, asked him for his IC, right? And then ended up, well, just going to court and then asking for pity. It was like so interesting. And then basically then like they all after like going to court right there started like playing victim, like crying, and then like, oh, I'm so pitiful, I'm so sad. That sort of thing right there. And then like along the way, it's just very unfortunate. Look at this. The prosecution initially proposed an 8,000 ringgit bail, but the defense argued the amount was excessive, considering the accused is a pensioner supporting three children, including one still in university. Bro, like, if you don't want to like go to court kind of thing, then you know what you should do? You should just not commit crimes. Don't commit slander. Do you think that you're making any community like proud of you? Do you think you're making Malaysia proud of you? Do you think you're making your religion proud of you? I don't think so. I mean, like, if you think somehow that like going around slapping people in the middle of Ramadan is like basically how you demonstrate the beauty of like what you believe in, I think you've got another thing coming. It is as the late P. Ramlee had once said, and that I occasionally quote, dah tua pun bodoh. Maybe some of you remember this. I don't know how many of you are actually old enough to remember P. Ramlee. I am actually not, but I just happened to like notice this because like it's a very good quote altogether right there. Dah tua pun bodoh. Dah tua pun bodoh. P. Ramlee I have like a lot to say about as well, but like that's a story for another day. But anyway, so then what is happening right now, Sepupz, is that this woman's lawyer is basically going out and then saying, hey, you know what? Like 75K, please, 75K, please, 75K, please. And by the way, like this is like the lawyer. Oh, look at him. He's so happy. Oh, wow. That's like the great hero who is just casually going to, I don't know, like save the fitnah money, tabung, derba, jihad, sapu. Yeah, I don't know. So we are gonna go right ahead and discuss like the rest of this like in a bit right here, but I want to do a poll, right? I want to do a poll. So now, question for those of you out there who are just casually like thinking about this right now. So, question. Where is my poll? Okay, yes, here you go. Do you think Siti Mastura deserves to win her appeal? All right. So, by the way, like I'm using at the moment Whisper Flow, and if you're interested in like making use of that, you can basically like use this link right down here. I do receive a small commission, and yeah, it helps me to like speak really quickly. Yes, and no, maybe. Oh, actually, you know what? Like, let's put it. Hell no. What's up, John? How's it going? And maybe. All right. Do you think Siti Mastura deserves to win her appeal? Queen Sepup. Queen Sepupu. Siti Mastura deserves to win her appeal. Let's go. All right. Now, go forth, you filthy animals. Vote, vote, vote. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, okay. So this is what is going on right over there. And yeah, so questions from some people out there and also some notes. History is written by the victors. Is that an indication that I am writing history right now and you are writing history by being a part of this podcast? Wow, amazing. And what do we have? Losang at the gym. Yes, that is what happened. I mean, like, basically, like, my High Rocks teacher casually brought over, like, some, like, fortune cookies and shit. And, like, it was amazing. I mean, like, I kind of, like, I had a really good time. I mean, like, she, like, really thought about it. I mean, like, she's going back to, like, Ipoh and stuff like that. And, like, we had, like, a nice, nice little experience right there. So, like, really, thank you. I'll show you guys on like the screen, like really briefly, right? What is going on as you are voting. But yeah, so like this is what happened, right? So we kind of like In the gym, bros, in the gym. Yeah. So that is something that happened in the gym, and it was very nice. Let's see. What you guys are voting on right at the moment. Okay, so well, 100% no. Hell no. What the heck? All right. Okay. I think that this is the first time I've done a poll recently where like basically the result is like, well, okay. So like it's very extreme. Some people be all like, oh yes, she deserves to win the appeal. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So like this is not like totally casually like a echo chamber at this moment in time. So like okay, fine. It's like some of you like pass. Okay. Like by all means. I mean like so I'm sorry. Like I am definitely biased over here, but like I think that the country is gonna break like if you guys actually like get your way. Like I think it's actually gonna break into pieces. It's gonna be destroyed over and out. Like migrate, leave this country right here. There is no future, no hope for the vision of the world that you want. So like that is my opinion. It is based on slander. It is based on gaslighting. It is how I view things. But anyway, I mean, like, you know, like, you do you. I mean, like, if you view, like, past is basically, well, the hero of the universe and, like, it needs to, like, keep on keeping on and stuff like that. Like, who am I to stop you, you know? Like, sometimes, you know, when you tell children not to eat soap, they will eat soap anyway because it is colorful, but, like, it is up to you. Sorry, like that is like my okay, that's all the sindiran that I'm gonna casually do for you this evening. But anyway, so now the majority of you think that it is a hell no at this moment, but like at the moment we only have like 9 votes, which is fine. But yeah, so if you think about like this whole like appeal thing, so well, I feel like if you actually think about what happened, right? Like it is actually pretty crazy. I think that you saw the video a little bit earlier on. And for those of you who weren't here at the start of the live stream, right? So then like you can actually like go right ahead, right? And watch my old video, which is titled, yeah, let me see right here. What is my video titled? Okay. The Siti Mastura. Hold on. What is my video title? Hold on. Sepupz Saga, Victor Tan. Let me see. Can we find it? Can we find it? Can we find it? Yeah, there were a few actually. So like you can actually see past Siti Mastura at the Sepupz Saga. Yeah, that was like a long, long time ago. There are like so many Sepupz right over here. Yeah. Um. Wow. Did I even make this video? Like, it's very interesting. Is Siti Mastura secretly a genius? Wow. Very interesting. Well, on the topic actually of like being a genius or not a genius, I mean like there's no doubt that like she's an educated person. And you know like some people actually were thinking that like she actually was a genius right here because of like what she did like in this situation, right? Because like they were literally thinking that like it is because of a Barisan National Communications book, right? That basically Siti Mastura went out there and like basically won, so to speak. Like she's so amazing, she's so great, she's the best, and like that sort of thing right there. And like education wise, I mean like she is no question about it, like an educated person, so to speak. I mean like if you think about like the level of education that she did get, I mean like she has a PhD. I mean like if you think about what you've got right over, let me see, like do we have actually like her education? Siti Mastura education. All right. Siti Mastura education. Okay, great. So my MP right over there. Yeah. Okay, PhD in Islamic Management and Development, USM in Penang. And then you have Master of Islamic Management and Development, USM. Penang, Bachelor of Sharia Specialization, Al Azhar University. Man, like whenever I hear like Al Azhar University, I just think to myself, oh my gosh, like we are gonna have a problem right here. Like these people, gosh, like going over to like the Middle East kind of thing and just like bringing home like God knows what right there. You know, like Al Azhar is like considered like Harvard for them kind of thing. Like they literally think like it's the best thing in the world. I mean, I don't know. Like it's that is the way that they view the world. That is how they see things. That is how they think about it. So yeah, I mean like so she's not like entirely, shall we say, like Malaysia educated or anything like that. She actually did like do like her studying and stuff like that. And there's no question about it. I mean, like, she probably was able to do that academic work and stuff like that. And I don't know, like, how she ended up with that permanent head damage is a separate matter altogether. But either way, like, you've got that whole situation right over there. Yeah. Wow. So I don't know, like it is a very interesting situation. But anyway, so like a fun fact really about the appeal, right, at the moment. So you might think to yourself that, well, okay, so like it could be, right, that, well, these guys are gonna lose their money. It's gonna be so, so sad right over there. And you know why? You know why? Because, like, okay, now this argument made by the lawyer right here is based on this idea that basically when they talked about like the whole Sepupz thing, it's basically about ideology. Look at this. They say that basically the client's reference to Chin Peng was only limited to the communist political ideology and not the violent insurgency that led to the independence emergency. She only drew parallels to issues of equality and anti-colonialism. It stops there. She did not refer to the communist guerrilla warfare. There was no mention of a militant approach. The court should not take it too far as to draw such conclusions. Okay, that's very interesting. But like, to be fair, right, you don't actually need to like draw like any sorts of conclusions right there. Because like, let me ask you, right? Like, you look at any random person that you see on the internet right now, right? Like any person that you have seen in any Facebook group, TikTok video, or anything else out there, right? Do you think that those people actually understand what is communism? Do you think that they do? Because if you do, right, I feel like you have got like something else coming. I mean, like, like I cannot count the number of times, right, that I have literally gone out and just casually talked to some of these people right there. And like, you ask them, right, like, what exactly is communism? And like, they are just unable to go right ahead and answer you at all. Literally, they're just like not able to, right? Like when you think about the word communist, like the reason that it is so dangerous is because like it is literally like racial code at the moment, right? For like people who are of Chinese descent. The moment you are Chinese, then they will say that you are either type C or you are communist, or like they will use any other form of gaslighting, right? To basically like take it so that they can be the representative of the Malays, right? And then basically they want to go out there and become heroes again. Dude, like Tun M already knew that like these guys were like fakers. He already knew that like their pretensions, right, of like being so-called like the bearers of religion was basically like just fake. I mean, like, if you want, right? Like, you can actually go right ahead and watch my video that I made, right, about 6 months ago that is titled, What Does Dr. Mahathir Really Think of Past, right? And, like, I'm just going to go ahead and show you right here, like, really temporarily, because, like, there are actually receipts in here. This is, like, when my hair was, like, a lot shorter. So, like, yeah. Anyway, like you can actually see like in the book, right, that is the doctor in the house, so to speak. So then like I actually went ahead, right, and I found like the different pages where he actually talked about like what past is like, his actual view of past, despite like his being the sort of like hero right there. Look at this. Like he is literally right here talking about, well, the whole idea, right? And like we can actually like go ahead and like just like make this go forward right over here. Let me see. Hold up. Does he say anything? All right, look at this right over here. UMNO's rejection of PAS was based on the belief that it was not a true Islamic party and it could not help the Malay cause. Did you know that PAS used to be a part of UMNO? If you didn't know, then now you know. It was actually the Ulama faction, and then they went out, and then they became like a separate party on their own because they wanted the Tunggang. Precisely because they wanted the Tunggang. And like you can actually see what is going on right over there. I did like the reading over here. I actually commented on it, but right now you're actually hearing a live commentary. Because this is relevant. This is relevant, right? Like you have somebody who literally lived for like 100 years, right? At his 70 something year of age thing, he just mentions right over there that I considered past a betrayer of the Malays and never once believed in their Islamic pretensions. That is not what I said. That is what Tun Dr. Mahathir said. PAS would never be able to build a truly Islamic state in Malaysia like those of the great age of Islamic civilization. Nor would they be able to rule and develop the country. The party had no coherent plan or strategy for the betterment of the Malays or of the country. Wow, what is that irony? Like, do you know that we have known this for like many, many years? Dr. Mahathir, I mean, like, the Teh Tarik water thing is like a very, very old problem. Even you recognize this, but unfortunately, well, because it is your enduring wish that somehow or another there will be this unity right here. You are now stuck in this situation with these gaslighters who have gaslighted themselves into this situation whereby they are believing in the Siti Mastura Muhammad and thinking that she's a genius. You can watch the whole video on your own time a little bit later on. I think it's kind of an interesting experience, right? To really like just think about what is actually going on in that situation right over there. But yeah. So I did say earlier, right, that they think that actually like Siti Mastura is a genius, right? Which is why like they are just casually going out there and then trying to like protect her, like left, right, front, and center. And the story actually, right? It comes from like a few different things. And I can like name them a couple of a couple of like those things right over there. I mean, like, first thing, right, is that basically they believe that there's like this BN comms book, right? That like basically declared, right, that city that essentially like all these people, like Teresa Kok and Lim Kit Siang, Lim Guan Eng were actually like part of the whole Barua communist gang right there, related to Chin Peng. And like, you know, they make all this stuff right here that basically it's like defamatory, right? That like there's actually no proof for that like has an uncertain origin. And look. So like this is actually like where we got it, right over here. Gosh, like I actually still remember this stuff. So look at this, right? They say that basically the DAP family thing is possibly from a BN book. And then basically like this is what is going on right there. Like they even have this like X post at the moment that is just casually like linking everybody together. This is what you've got. They can't even get the names right, but apparently this is like reliable information right over there. And like they are saying right now that like she is a genius, right? Because she somehow or another managed to drive a wedge between DAP and UMNO. This is very interesting to think about right over here, right? But like if you think about it, if she really is such an educated person, then let's recall the logic again, because this is kind of like a throwback live stream. Number one, if basically this book is well, of uncertain origin, then the question is, well, then why? And like basically, she did not know about it, right? So then, like, why didn't she go out and then like actually do research? Why didn't she find out whether it was actually true or not? Lady, you have like a PhD. Like, it's supposed to be like a doctor of philosophy. It's something that you work for years and years for. Well, I guess like maybe. Well, if the PhD that you got right is kind of like the PhD that allegedly, well, a certain Imam Omar Sulaiman that, well, a lot of people love to retweet. By the way, including a certain, well, big fan from the Madani government who may or may not be the last part in the Mama, Daddy, and Nurul Izzah trilogy right here. But anyway, so yeah, like there's this whole like discussion right here. I don't know if it's like true or if it's not true, but either way, right? Like just think about it. Like you had 5 years, like or maybe more or fewer, like depending on like how much of a genius they decided that you were, to go out there and like suffer and like basically advance the boundaries of knowledge. And somehow or another, you could not advance the boundaries of your knowledge, right? In order to validate whether it was true or not. But remember, this is the first scenario. The first scenario, she decided to talk about this, but she didn't know whether it was true, right? So she didn't validate things, she didn't check, and poof, suddenly, oh, mereka adalah sepupu. Case number two, she knew about it, and then she decided to share it anyway. So then, if she knew about it, right, Sepupz, like, I think that you kind of know, like, the problem there, right? I mean, if you know that something is true, you know that something is false, sorry, and you decide to go out and share the thing, right? Then that is like full on the characteristic of like slander. Now, she is making like some counter arguments at the moment, right? So, like, there is this argument that basically, in order for something to be slander, right, it needs to be shared with a very large number of people all at once, right? So then, like, actually, like, you know, I have made so many different videos about like so many different topics, and like the way that I make my videos is basically like I go out and like I just like capture parts of my experience and the things that actually happen right here. And one video that you may want to watch is I became a slander victim, which actually did happen because like somebody basically decided to casually hang out and then, right? Like just yeah, hold on. Oh yeah. This character is like a very interesting character. Um, but yeah, I found out by the way that he is I found out that he's a student of somebody that I actually know, and like it's yeah. But anyway, like I have like some leverage, so yeah. Well, anyway, I became a slander victim, Victor Tan, right? So like that actually like showcases to you like the different characteristics of what slander actually is, right? So then like we're not gonna go into like all of those details along the way, but like yeah, you can see like the throwback thinger mabob right there. And yeah, so like for something to be slander, it needs to be a statement of fact about a person, not opinion. It must be false, it must be communicated to others, and it must harm the person's reputation. Now, the way that the lawyer, right, is like basically arguing is that, hey, you know what? Like this set of remarks, right, that you all watch a little bit earlier on, which I'm gonna go casually and like look through just a little bit right over here. Hold on. Ah, yes. Okay. So for those of you who don't remember, look at this. This is basically what it is. That entire situation right here, where this woman is just casually declaring that, hey, look at this. Look at this. Who? Siapa? Ketua Menteri Singapura. Didn't check. Lim Kit Siang dan Chin Peng. Sir, sepupu. You know, when I look at this right here, like I just think to myself, okay, like maybe she really is like just not very bright. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it never really did require like being bright to be successful in that world, right? Of like gaslighting politics. All you have to do is like go up to people and then just tell them like, hey, jangan cinta dunia sangat. Cintalah undi saya. That kind of thing. Like, whoa. But like, it's she basically said that, right? Like allegedly because like she wants to go out there and like drum up support for pass along the way. And you know, like there is this idea of like what we call like acceptable political speech, which is like very interesting to think about. But it's I don't know, like when you think about like what she is just casually doing over there, like it just makes you wonder, you know, like if she actually does like believe any of that stuff that she is like talking about. But anyway, so like the arguments, right, from the lawyer are basically that like, hey, it was made in a closed door meeting. The client never intended them to be circulated outside the meeting. But hey, look, bro, look. Like you literally like communicated something to others and you literally harm a person's reputation. Look, and like I put that in my video right there, right? But like, I mean, if you wanted to like go out there and like understand right there what this actually goes and means right here, you can actually look at like multiple different definitions, right? Of like what slander actually is, whether it's like law.com, right? Or otherwise. And you can actually see right here that this is a situation where like someone tells one or more persons an untruth about another, and the untruth harms the reputation of the person defamed. Do you know how many people I have seen out there literally screaming day in and day out in the past PN seluruh Malaysia groups, right? About what all these people, these jokers are saying day in and day out. Do you know that when Hannah Yo basically was defamed by that good old Kamaru Yusuf, then like all these people basically just started talking about how she is Duta Tuhan like day in and day out, and I think that that picture was like pretty funny. So like I don't know if I can actually show it right there, but it's actually kind of funny. But if not, then yeah, I don't really have it at the moment. But if not, then I'll just show you like the past PN seluruh Malaysia. I wonder if we actually search the word communist right now, like what can we actually find? Let's see. It's crazy. Look at this, look at this, look at this. All right, past PN seluruh Malaysia. Look at these. The heroes that will save the world or destroy it or like convince everyone that they will save the world, while at the same time all these people right here like fall further and further into depression and go into this feedback loop where basically when they are more depressed, then like they end up thinking that like the more they need to end up being gaslighted, and then the more they end up gaslighted, the more depressed they become, and then before you know it, all of them become your pentak soups. The reason that we are here is to search the word communist. I don't know if like we're actually going to find like anything right here. Let's see. Pahang Bubar Communists. All right, what do we have right here? Oh my god, what is this person even writing? What kind of writing is this? Why did you put everything towards the end? Like, are you Delulu? What is this? Like poem? Okay, and like you can see right over here. Look at this. Okay, this is what they're saying. Be aware of the Chinese Communist movement right now. The MCP left like so many years ago. In Sabah and Sarawak, is still active and alive. They are now entering into the political parties, the NGOs, the trading companies, and taking up important positions in administration. Amongst their activities are spreading lies towards the pre-Bumi community of Semenanjung, spreading hatred and creating enemies within the thinking of the local community in order to fight Semenanjung and to hide in NGOs that fight for Sabah and Sarawak to get out of Malaysia. Well, I mean, like, it is a fact that MA63 is a thing. But of course, like these people just want to go right there and blame communists. Be aware that this is a new strategy of the communist pact of the Chinese in order to take over Sabah and Sarawak in a halus way. But, and like, bro, like, you're supposed to be Malay, right? Like, bro, what sentence is this? Bro, kalau kau nak cakap bahasa Melayu, kalau kau nak martabatkan bahasa Melayu, boleh tak you gunakan ayat yang lengkap? Bro, dah lah nak mengaku terpaling Malaysia dan nak mengaku orang ni adalah pendatang, tapi you sendiri pun tak mampu nak cantum ayat tu baik-baik, walaupun kau dah tulis dengan begitu bertaubat dan begitu tekun sekali untuk menyebarkan kebencian terhadap orang lain. Gerakan, their movement has to be labeled as a terrorist squad activity and as rebels that threaten the safety and the independence of Malaysia. Do not let them be as they are. Prevent this before it is too late, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Look at this. Okay. So, like, the situation of the masjids in Turkestan after being taken over by communists. Bro, this is what. Okay, look at this. Muhammad Abdullah again. I don't know what this guy is right here, who he is, but you can clearly see, right? Like, for some reason or another, he just has this, like, passion for declaring that people actually are communists along the way. It's not something that he actually has, like, proof for. He's talking about how, well, his religion is not actually, like, extreme along the way, which I don't doubt, like, in many different ways. I've seen, like, perfectly good friends of mine who happen to be Muslim and they don't end up like this guy, like literally lying about communism day in and day out, right? And there you have it right there. They're casual. Oh, I reacted to this. Very interesting. This is what you've got. And probably like even more communist comments right over there. Dasa Cina kapia communist. Gosh, I don't know, man. Like this guy is like an interesting character. Yeah. But anyway, so like that is the kind of thing that you have right there, bro. And like if you think about it, right? Like, okay, I don't know if like any of you actually know right here, but like the connection I think should be pretty obvious that like these people are just like casually like spreading this idea of like what communist is, right? And that like this thing is like spreading. You thought that? Like it is just insane to like really like think about like what is actually going on here like in this like little community or set of communities kan. Mereka memang nak fitnah. Dari dulu pun mereka nak fitnah. Mereka fitnah tak henti-henti. Mereka anggap bahawa itu adalah kewajipan. Tiap-tiap hari mereka fitnah, mereka akan hasilkan dalil. Mereka cakap, oh, sekarang ni kami berada dalam peperangan. We're in a war. We cannot be doing nothing. Kami sedang dibuli. Sebagai orang yang dibuli, kami masih boleh lawan balik. A people who are oppressed are entitled to resistance. Kononnya, mereka cakap. Dengan kata lain, oleh sebab mereka anggap diri mereka sebagai warga-warga yang telah ditekan, yang tidak mampu lagi hasilkan apa-apa kerana mereka telah letakkan segala usaha mereka ke dalam api. Dan setelah mereka telah tunggu dan tunggu untuk semuanya reda dan diri mereka menjadi tidak berguna, mereka berkata bahawa kami tertindas. Kami begitu tertindas sekali. Maka dalam keadaan peperangan yang berlarutan dan perpetual ini, maka we can slander, we can lie, we can fitnah. So, if you say that that is like standard issue political commentary, right? And Shafiq, maybe you just came in, but we were talking about like the appeal of Siti Mastura, and we were just like recounting the case of like what happened with like Siti Mastura, right? And like the very fact that she is appealing. So then perhaps you may have seen like this video right over here, but like this is what you've got. The slander, it continues moment by moment, one after another, claiming everybody is out to get us. This is all conspiracy. Ooh, depa nak tindas kami. That sort of thing right there. Terpaling tertindas. Terpaling terbuli. Bruh, you know, like, when we have a live stream like this, you could say that some people could say, right, and you can argue, right, that like, okay, it is creating hatred for like other people, right? But like that's like a fine line, right? Like, of course, like, you know, if you feel that like that's creating hatred, like that's okay, like fine. Like I can admit that like it is possible that that might happen right there. But we have been looking at evidence at what these people have been saying, what they have been doing, right? How they have been behaving. Like not just their MPs, but also their people. accusing people of being communists, not understanding what communism is. You really, again, right? I asked this, right, at the very outset, and I am going to ask it again in this poll. Like, thank you, by the way, for voting in the poll so far. Now, I'm going to ask you, right? Okay, so Alan, to every single person in the live stream right over here. This is something I'm very passionate about. I want to know, right? Question: do you think all the people who are listening to Siti Mastura or who vote for PAS actually understand communism? All right. So, like, do you think all the people, well, not just like who are listening to Siti Mastura, who vote for PAS actually understand communism? Simple poll, yes or no. All right. So then there we go. Go right ahead. And by the way, right, like, I'm just going to say this right now, but you know, I would argue that even I don't understand communism. Bruh. Okay. I mean, like, when I was in university, like, basically people made us read a whole ton of different things, right? And like in university, like, and my university was like a unique university, right? So like it is one of those places where they literally ask you to do what is called like liberal arts. You have to like study like books from like ancient times, Roman, Grecian history. People were reading the history of the Peloponnesian War. They were reading the Iliad, which was my very first year book. We read the dialogues of Plato one after another. We read also, right, amongst other things, Sigmund Freud. We read also, incidentally, like Simone de Beauvoir. And the most important, and like if you didn't know any of these names at all, like it doesn't matter, right? But most immediately relevant, so we read Karl Marx. We read the literal Communist Manifesto. After, by the way, reading Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, and then later on reading Milton Friedman's essays on the permanent income hypothesis, for which he won a Nobel Prize in economics. We read so many different things that we may not necessarily agree with, right? But at the same time, right? Like, I'm gonna just tell you right now, to even say that you agree with something, right, requires you to understand it. And right about now, I'm gonna do like the very controversial step, right? Of literally just going out there and showing you, right? Okay, like what the stuff that Karl Marx wrote was like. I'm not gonna actually show you like the Communist Manifesto, but I'm just gonna show you like how dense the writing is. This is not to convert you into a communist. I have no interest in doing so. I wouldn't be able to do so because I don't actually fully understand like what is going on. Apart from that, it is this idea that basically you want to basically like create the death of the state and eventually, so like not the death of the state but the withering away of the state, right? And like basically you want to create like this situation where like people are liberated from private property, like basically like the state owns everything and makes your life like a utopia, that kind of thing right there. Which if you ask me to explain the exact logic basically by which Karl Marx like compose this idea right over there in depth, in detail, in my opinion, it is impossible, right? I mean, like, there are like some ideas, right? That basically like come in here and there and everywhere, but like it is extremely theoretical. It is extremely difficult to understand. And if you say that like you agree with it or like disagree with it, right? Like that requires you already, right? To like understand like what is actually going on. Look at this. Okay, look, I mean, like, look at what is going on right over there. I mean, like, if you were to look just like at a random part, right? So, like, okay, what do we have right here? We have seen that the money form is but the reflex thrown upon one single commodity of the value relations between the rest. That money is a commodity is therefore a new discovery only for those who, when they analyze it, start from its fully developed shape. The act of exchange gives to the commodity converted into money not its value, but its specific value form. By confounding these two distinct things, some writers have been led to hold that the value of gold and silver is imaginary. The fact that money can, in certain functions, be replaced by a mere. All right, okay. I don't know if you understand this right now, but like maybe, right? Maybe if we were to like literally go out there and then we were to read like in detail, we were to study with some of the very best students in the world, and there's no question about it. Like the people that I was with were like amongst the best students in the world. Like that school, like it was traumatic, but like literally almost every single person there was like 99 percentile in test scores in the entire world. No question about it. No question about it. I have deep respect for my alma mater. And that remains until today, and it will remain that way until I die, right? It was an interesting place. But basically, the point is that it was a very, very, very difficult book. And like, if I am saying to you that I didn't understand like what was inside that book, right? Then like, why are you then saying that like you understand like what communism is, right? Like, it's, I don't know, like a very unfortunate thing right here to think about. But I can see right now that like y'all are like voting, and this is the result that we are seeing right now. Do they understand communism? No. I mean, like, yeah, like 100%. Like, y'all do not think that they understand communism. I don't think so either. So, like, that means that we are very much in alignment, you know? So, it's interesting to think about. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, like towards this right here, you can see, right, that like by our friend Siti Mastura casually, okay, like there's an interesting part which I'm not going to talk about just yet. But you can see that our friend Siti Mastura, basically, she wanted people to think, right, that hey, well, these people are communists or linked to communists. And like basically her lawyer wants to argue that, hey, like this is just like political speech. It's just like regular commentary. No, it's not. No, it's not. You wanted a group of people to think that way. Yes. Initially, you only wanted to like direct it to like the small group of women. As far as I know, like when Siti Mastura spoke at the drama, there were like maybe like no more than like, I don't know, like 50 people in attendance. Could have been fewer, but it was not a very big event. Or, well, maximum like 200 kind of thing. I don't exactly know like the number of people right there. But then later on, then somebody went and betrayed her and shared the video clip, right, with like the rest of the world. And you know what? Whoever that person was, great job. And I hope that this happens more. Because like people need to understand, right? Like what these people are like talking about, how they are appealing to the minds of the people under their so-called care, gaslighting them, telling them that like they will win the world as long as they end up voting for pass. Which is not gonna happen, bro. Like it's not gonna happen, baby. Like you can call this dunya, the Maya, an illusion. You can say that all of it is nothing more than like just a stopping off point before eventually then you go and you meet your creator. It's a beautiful way of thinking about the world. But like at the same time, like almost all of you sort of realize that like this economy thing is a very real thing. You sort of realize that like, hey, like at the end of the day, you actually need to be able to feed your kids. Your kids actually need to be able to like spend their lives like doing something that's like meaningful or productive or like beneficial for the society and the world around them. And if you're just casually going out there and then like you're escaping from the things that you actually need to do in the world by like listening to all of these people on TikTok or like in their like dakwas right there, and like they are just telling you, hey, we're always going to win right there. You know what's the answer to that? Like from you, like over the course of time, over the course of years, when like you keep on believing that? Depression. Depression is what happens when like a couple of like different possible things happen. One of them is like it's clinical. You can't explain why the person like ends up getting depressed. Another one of them is that like, hey, like you're really in such a bad situation, right? In life. Like you suck. Everything failed. And then like there you are, just like looking at the mirror every single morning, wondering to yourself why did things end up happening that way. That is a recipe for depression. And that is what I think that y'all should not have, right? Like Lee Hsien Loong said it very well in the annual dinner of the Singapore Economic Society last year. And I will say this in Chinese, right? So if you don't know Chinese, it goes like this: 不要躺扁. I repeat, 不要躺扁. Do not lie flat, right? And 躺扁 just means like lie flat, right? Like just don't do anything right there. Because like honestly speaking, like if you really want to like go out there and like achieve something, right? Like a lot of it is just like about showing up, right? Like just being there, right? Like building a community can be like just like being present, like you don't need to care about like how you're being judged or like how you're like looking or anything out there right there. But like if like every single day all you really are doing is that you're listening to these messages and you are ignoring your ability, your right, to actually be a human being, and then like at the end of the day, all you can really conclude is that like, hey, I need to make life as bad as possible for other people out there, which is absolutely what these past people are doing, right? Then like I don't know, like it's a very sad way of living. Fun fact about the reason that the judgment was delayed is that, in fact, and yes, it was delayed for those of you who just came in, there was an interesting possibility. So the DAP's lawyers actually has said that, hey, you know what? You want to reduce the damages? Well, you do know that Chinpeng is a euphemism. For those of you who don't know what the word euphemism works, is it basically means like a way of avoiding something, right? By saying like something that's more polite. So instead of saying F you, that kind of thing, then yeah, you could say F you, right? It's like you avoid actually using the word itself, right? Or you could say screw you, or like basically like some other like more polite version of that doesn't allow you to like that doesn't like have you say the word and therefore get like demonetized or anything else like that. But yeah, so like he's saying that Shinpeng was a euphemism for the insurgency akin to an auto-suggestion and evokes references to the bloody moment in the nation's history. In a closed-door meeting, there was no reason to bring up Shinpeng. What more, make a link that they were cousins? Why was it necessary? I don't know. Like, it is a possibility that she is just dumb. I mean, it is an actual possibility that she is just dumb. I mean, if you don't want to be dumb like her, consider contributing down below and supporting intelligent conversations out there. Thank you, Sepupz. Love you all. And yeah, so now there is a chance that she is actually just like dumb. She's like not smart, right? Like that's why she is making this like assertion. So he says, if you don't agree with the policy, go ahead and criticize. If you don't agree with the political stance, go ahead and criticize. But why was there the need to bring up Chin Ping? You know what? So then, like here, what's happening right here is that, well, the DAP is actually making a counterclaim for higher damages. Ooh, sweet. So that means actually, right, like instead of like the 800 something K that they're getting right there, if the court actually ends up like deciding otherwise, then like maybe they end up getting like, I don't know, like 20 million or something. Bro, like, come on. Like, come on. Like, make it happen, judge. I mean, well, it is a kind of an interesting situation that we have right here. But yeah, like that is the appeal of Siti Mastura Muhammad, our Queen Sepup right here. Oh, and by the way, I have a fun little announcement to make at the moment. So, right here and right now, I am going to go right ahead and launch a brand new Discord server. It is called Sepupu HQ, Sepupz. Yeah, some of you were actually asking about this a while ago, right? And yeah, you can actually see right over there that like okay, it's like kind of small at the moment, so I don't know if like you can actually see, but like there's a little icon right here that says like Sepupu HQ. And yeah, so I thought that it would be an interesting way to kind of like engage with all of you out there. And yeah, you'll find the link actually to hang out and feel free to like drop a message or something of that nature. So like it's actually automatically linked right now to my YouTube channel. So then, like, whenever you go ahead and you open up the Sepupz feed right here, then like you'll actually end up seeing a new video. There are like reaction roles and stuff like that. I'm still building it at the moment. But anyway, like you're gonna see a link to have essentially like yourself like join the server at the moment. And yeah, so like come in, like have like a couple of conversations. It'll be fun. And well, I am going to go right ahead and send this link over, Sepupz. Yeah, so like, please go right ahead and join. Yeah, so like, it'll be fun. Anyway, so this is okay. I think that my live stream thing is not really working at the moment. I see that is a bit of a problem. It is supposed. Oh no, wait, no, this was Twitch. I remember. Okay. And there'll be a couple of things. So like I would love it if you come over, like introduce yourself and stuff like that. And yeah, you can like even like do like video ideas, things that you think are interesting. You can right now like see like please meme that is from the bot, which is kind of interesting. Kalau ada sesetengah korang ni yang nak bercakap dalam BM, then please go right ahead and do so. I think that like that would be nice, right? To actually have like some people speak like bahasa kebangsaan. If you know anyone who is like really good at video editing or who wants to talk about like content creation, there'll be more channels that will be added in. There's already somebody in the general channel. Let's chat. Let's chat. Who's this? Yo, let's join general. Yo, what's up, Sapu? Yo, what's up, Sapoop? How's it going? What's new? All right, whoever that is, like they are, maybe they're shy. It's like, I
Hi,
don't.
hi, 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 Victor. It's Marcus.
Oh my God, we're having a conversation right now, Marcus. Nice to
Oh,
see
what's up?
Yeah.
you. Yo, what's up, Sapoop?
I am. Yeah, finally we are in a historic call for the first time. Yeah, I usually using Discord for mainly for my Mario thing, but now finally for the first time in history, we can able to talk Malaysian stuff here.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
we'll make sure this one is 13 and above, yeah, rated by LPF.
Oh my God.
Anyways,
Oh, terima kasih.
I'm
Terima
not
kasih,
sure if you.
Sapoop. Le Waffles Darai. Apa kabar? Welcome, Sapoop. Welcome, Sapoop.
Yo, kabar baik.
Wow,
How
we're
you
actually
doing,
appearing on
man?
stream right now. That's like truly amazing. Yo, what's up?
Put that Discord call on your screen. Let's go. We're gonna do some historic stream.
I mean, like we are actually on the
Not now. My house is in a mess at the moment.
No worries. Same goes here. Cluttered as heck.
Yes, that is truly incredible. Thank you for stopping by. It is amazing. And
Yes.
yeah, thank you for joining. Wow, like that's like really quickly. Thank you, Sapoop. I award you like the order of the Sapoop. Like that is truly amazing. Thank you so much
It's
for
not
that.
just an order. Actually, we are doing something
Like truly historic.
like I
Magical.
wanted to dream to be a news commentator here in Malaysia, but I never done that before. I currently doing a casual Mario gaming stream, so
you can
yeah.
have your dream begin to come true at the moment, Sapoop. Like this is me voting for you right there. If you eventually end up like working for like CNA or something out there, don't forget us peasants out there. And thank you so much.
It's not CNA. We are doing independently. We are going to take inspiration.
Oh my God.
From,
okay, cool.
You know lah, people from 2 continents away.
All right, cool.
We learn from them. We don't copy their bad things. We don't copy their bad things. We
Okay,
only
Sapoop.
copy their good
All right,
things.
so like I am gonna hit off pretty soon right now. It's almost 11:30. But yeah, thank you so much for dropping by on the stream, and I look forward to seeing you on more streams and also to seeing you guys on Discord. So yeah, like this is really chill. Thank you so much for stopping by and like appearing even on the stream at the moment as well. So thank you so much, and catch you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.
See you later.
Yeah, but
All right, wow. Like that was actually insane. Like we actually had a fun wow, so thank you for actually popping in. And yeah, so like really appreciate your presence and everything else along the way. And yeah, so like if you have any like like burning questions or anything else out there, then feel free to ask them in the Discord and feel free to come over and introduce yourself, and it'll be a nice fun time as we experience what it is like to just hang out and chill. All right then, Sepupz, this was real. So thank you all for that experience, and it was an honor as always.